Hello everyone. I wanted to come on here and talk to you all about an issue that's been bothering me. So now recently I booked an Airbnb and I was planning to stay there for 7 days until my apartment gets ready. Now I only stayed there for one night, and after speaking to the co-host and sharing with the co-host that I'm a healthcare worker, she thought that I was an Amazon worker. And she asked me, do I work for Amazon? Now, I told her I don't work for Amazon. I'm contracted at a healthcare facility. So she goes on the next day to get in contact with the host and tell the host that I'm a healthcare worker, and I only stayed at this Airbnb for one night. I was supposed to stay there for 7 days. The next day in the afternoon, the host gets in contact with me via text and email, and she says this. I was put out of this Airbnb abruptly with no warning because I'm a healthcare worker. Now, she stated that you said you were a gardener, not a healthcare worker. I never told her that I was a gardener. Now, on my Airbnb profile, it says that I'm a gardener, but I didn't state on the Airbnb profile that I'm a gardener as an occupation. Now, I do garden, but I garden as a hobby, and that's something that I'm passionate about. But also, um, that's not here nor there. But during amidst this COVID-19 pandemic, healthcare workers shouldn't be attacked or punished because of our occupation. Now, the facility that I'm contracted at, in most healthcare facilities, you cannot enter before your temperature is taken and before you're vetted. Now, they take your temperature to see if you have a fever. Also, they ask you questions such as, have you been in contact with anyone who has COVID-19? Have you had shortness of breath? Have you had diarrhea? And have you been out the country in the past 14 days? They ask you many questions, and if you say yes to any of these questions, they bar you from entering the facility. And also, the facility where I work does not have any COVID-19 patients because they don't have the wherewithal to take care of COVID-19 patients at this time. And also, in healthcare facilities, if there's ever a patient who has MRSA, C. diff, any type of illness that is contagious, well, what they'll do is isolate that patient, and right outside of the patient's room, they'll have personal protective equipment, and such as gown, mask, gloves, goggles, everything that you need to protect yourself from an illness that is potentially contagious, so you don't spread it to yourself and others. Now, what they're doing is completely wrong. You cannot list on your Airbnb profile that you will not accept a healthcare worker. Right now, healthcare workers, we are on the front line of this pandemic, taking care of people who cannot take care of themselves. Like I said before, we should not be punished because of our occupation and what we do for a living. Right now, there are many corporations such as Chipotle, Circle K, and others that I can't think of right now, who are celebrating healthcare workers, giving us discounted meals, free coffee, free soft drinks, to show their appreciation for everything that we do. And I was so hurt by this because I knew it was wrong. And I'm not going to let them get away with this. I'm going to fight. Now, Airbnb did refund me my money, and they gave me a small credit. They gave me a $20 credit towards my next booking with them. But I was so disgusted that I decided not to go ahead and book with Airbnb because I didn't think that they did enough. What I would like to see is I would like this host to never be allowed to host on Airbnb again, and I would like Airbnb to further compensate me. And what she claimed was that she has immune compromised people in the household. Now, I chose the Airbnb option this time that was more affordable, that I rent out a room instead of a whole house, because that was an affordable option for me, because like I said, I am moving within 7 days to the place to my apartment, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money on an Airbnb so I can have it to myself, so I decided to choose a room option. And she felt that by me working in healthcare, that I'm contagious and I'm going to come back to the house and bring contagions to people who immune systems are allegedly already compromised. No, healthcare workers, we are not a disease. We are not contagious. We have been taught and educated how to stop the spread of infection by doing appropriate hand hygiene, by washing our hands in between each patient's room that we go to. So I feel that it's a lot of ignorance and discrimination that's going on. I feel like I'm being discriminated against because I'm a healthcare worker. And healthcare workers, we should not be treated like this. And going back and forth with the host through text messages, this is what she said as well. It was the co-host, the unofficial co-host, who's not listed on the profile of the host of the Airbnb, who expressed to the Airbnb host that she feels like I shouldn't be there because she has lupus and she's just getting over flare-ups. And there was another guest in the house who has an illness. And she expressed to the host that she feels that I shouldn't be there. That's why the next day I was abruptly asked to leave with no warning or with no notice. And the co-host expressed to me that I'm going back and forth through nursing homes and it's not safe for me to be there. And all while she's saying this to me, she's in close distance. She can clearly look at me and see that I'm a healthy person. I'm not coughing. I'm not sweating like I have a fever. I don't have a runny nose or anything. But for some reason, she felt that it was unsafe for me to be there. Now, I'm going to go ahead. The co-host's name is Jacqueline. In the description box, I'm going to leave her phone number, her email, the address to her house. So you guys, I'm going to leave the customer service number to Airbnb so all of you can get in contact with them and tell them that this is wrong. And they cannot do this to people. They cannot discriminate against healthcare workers. Everyday healthcare workers, we put our lives and our health on the line for everything that we do for people who are sick, disabled, injured, or in the like. Although this happened to me, I don't want this to happen to anyone else, because they're a healthcare worker or whatever type of occupation. You should not be denied boarding. Now, I know that there's hotels who have a lot of healthcare workers at their hotel, and they're not fussing about their that they're a healthcare worker and they're going to come back and bring contagions to the facility. Healthcare workers, we are not a disease. We are not contagious. We are human beings like everyone else. We're your mothers, we're your fathers, we're your friends, your cousins. We should not be discriminated. No one should be discriminated against because they're a healthcare worker. And I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to express it until I'm blue in the face, because this is wrong, and this should happen to no one. Oh, I'm not done yet. Here's the address of this no healthcare worker allowed Airbnb. Here's the number of the host, Jacqueline. Here's Jacqueline's email. Here's the number of the unofficial co-host, not listed on Jacqueline's Airbnb profile, Marlene. Feel free to get in contact with them and let them know what you think about not allowing healthcare workers to stay at this Airbnb.